Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to the Transfer View. I'm back as well, back on the shows, back on the early morning vibes. Jet lagged as hell. I think I'm on the right time zone. I think I'm in the right country. I think I'm going to talk about the right subjects, topics, and stuff like that. But no, big up to everyone. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Big up to Owen. Big shout out to Owen holding down UVHQ for the last couple of weeks. Morning shows every single morning, bang on time. No technology issues because I wasn't part of it. So it must have been really smooth, plain sailing, breaking news at the drop of a hat. I don't even know how many breaking news or extra videos Owen done because this has just happened. This has just happened. It's been mental.
It has been mental. It has been mental. The breaking news sound. Do you know what? Actually, though, the breaking news. There's been so much breaking news that the breaking news soundbite people have started to warm to it. You know, initially there was a little bit of it's a bit too long. Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. It's winning people over. Fleck. Yeah, people like it. People like the breaking news. Yeah. You know, it's been mainly associated with good news, but you know, last night was a bit maybe not so good news, but still, people. It's a grower. It's a grower. People like it. Yeah. It's a sleeper hit.
Yeah. We've got loads to talk about, man, during this show. Absolutely loads. Obviously, the back end of last night. I haven't done a video on it last night, but I'm going to have my say on it. And we're going to, explore that in a live today about the Ugarte deal being off. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about Lenny Yoro. He's undergone some surgery as well. Players back in training. And obviously way more in between that as well. So there's so much to talk about, so much to get our teeth into this morning.
And so much that probably maybe you don't even know as well, because in the last few minutes there has been some other things. I
was just about to say that. I was just literally going to say, and probably some other stuff that while we're live is going to come out. I will be honest. I'm still on the smaller machine, less powerful machine, because this machine needs to go to Josh ASAP to get unflecknologied. I don't know what's happened to it. So my powers, I don't have my Doctor Strange screens and all that. I ain't got a madness going on right now. I'm back to basics where I'm not even trying to click on the seat. Owen's in control of absolutely everything. I can't even change tab in case something happens. Yeah, I just want to stay like this. So yes, and actually, just before we get into the show, big shout out to every single person that we came across in the States. People showing love for the channel. Loads of people, Owen, saying they watch you every morning, watch us every morning, to big you up as well. They love the work we do here at UV. Big up to everybody who's been enjoyed the tour content, putting amazing comments on the videos and just sharing. We've had a bunch of new subscribers over the last few weeks and months. Like, just big up to everyone, man, because I always say this every year and it never gets any less humbling. Every year, the same thing happens no matter where in the world we go. When you actually physically get out there and meet people in person, face to face, and see the impact that this community's had in the Man United fan base and just people in general, people from other clubs, Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans come up to us, say, Liverpool fans, love what you do. Just in general, it's amazing. So anybody that I've come across and said hello to and embraced and took pictures with and just shared some love with, big up to you lot. And also, everybody who dropped me a DM and saying, "Oh, I'm at the game. Can we meet you?" And we just missed each other, big up to you. And I promise next year, I can clearly see now. You don't really realize it till you get there. We're gonna do things a lot earlier, planning in terms of some meetups, some live shows. We're gonna really get into our bag. So all of that to come next year. But big up to everyone who we came across and showed love to, and vice versa this year.
Yeah, well, you might be headed to maybe China or India, according to some reports yesterday, Flex. Yep, Snapdragon.
Yes. Well, I was talking to Laurie. Has Laurie Whitwell done a piece?
No. Well, he's done not on that, but he's done some transfer stuff this morning. But I did see that. Yeah.
No comment then.
No Flex sources. You've changed. You've changed. You've come back different. You've come back different.
No comment. But yes, India or China next year is what they say. What do they say in the world of transfers? Has been mentioned.
Has been
considered.
Yeah. Talks are underway. Yeah. Already a super chat, Flex, from Tabrez says KG abandoned United for Bud Crawford. Shame on him.
Disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
You know, our biggest rivals. All I'm saying is, I missed SummerSlam on Saturday. Yeah. KG went to the boxing. So
100%, mate. 100%. I'm with you, Owen. I'm with you. Ultimate sacrifice, mate.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Whatever. You either got it or you haven't.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Dedication.
Hopefully he's watching now.
Well, probably not. Probably not.
Yeah,
you know,
actually.
Is there any other boxing fights to go to? Maybe
he's probably debriefing what happened on Saturday. Probably going through it.
Maybe. It's whatever. Should we talk transfers though, Flex? Because there's quite a lot to talk about. Yes. Yeah. So Ugarte, a lot going on with Ugarte, a lot going on midfielders at Manchester United. So David Ornstein broke the story last night, saying Manchester United are switching the focus of their search to sign a new midfielder away from Manuel Ugarte and onto other candidates. United have been exploring a deal for Ugarte, but they do not intend to meet Paris Saint-Germain's asking price, which is around the €60 million, which is £51.4 million fee they paid to sign him from Sporting Lisbon in 2023. The clubs are quite far apart in their respective valuations of the Uruguay international. And as things stand, United are looking elsewhere. Only if PSG reduce their request is it possible that the Old Trafford side might return to the table. But so far, no progress has been made on that front. The view at United is that they are only willing to pay what they deem to be a correct fee for each transfer target, and negotiations will not be allowed to drag on until the end of the market. Consequently, discussions between the Premier League and league counterparts has cooled, but PSG are relaxed with the vast interest over a move for the 23-year-old from alternative suitors. Well, what about alternatives then? Well, Ben Jacobs is saying João Gomez and Andre from Fluminense are two names Man United still appreciate. The latter is available for under €35 million. Gomez is a much tougher target since Wolves value him at £60+ million. Quite interesting, actually. This story wasn't technically first broken by David Ornstein. It was actually kind of hinted at by Duncan Castles. He had said a few days prior that it's not as clear-cut as people are expecting. The valuations are a bit off. He suggested that United could be looking at alternatives like Supermendy, Veerman, Rabiot, some discussions, not a lot, and Sander Berge. He notes that United's interest in Berge is rivaled by Champions League qualified teams from both Spain, probably Girona, and in Italy. And you might go, Sander Berge, not much in that. Well, there is something in that, because this morning, Laurie Whitwell is saying, talking about this midfield situation. First of all, he talks about Scott McTominay, saying about that bid had been turned down last week. United are holding out for £25 million. But he also said United are considering midfield options, and one player under consideration is Sander Berge, who Burnley are prepared to sell. In fact, some talks between United and the players' camp may already be underway. So a lot's happened in the last 24 hours, Flex, with all of this. Certainly, it feels like it's no coincidence that yesterday PSG announced the signing of João Neves, and suddenly, later on that day, United walk away from an Ugarte deal, maybe suggesting that they were kind of hoping that once that deal got done, PSG would lower their expectation, their valuation of the player. That's not happened, and now United are already looking at other targets. What do you make of all of this?
There's two sides to that, because it could be seen as good posturing from Man United, because you know that PSG have committed to, that was a big deal, wasn't it? How much was that? 100 million?
No, it was around similar. It's around the similar price that I think it's like 70 million euros, something like that.
Okay. I mean, a big outlay.
The bigger one, by the way, I don't know if you've seen this morning, is that Atletico Madrid have agreed a fee with Manchester City for Julian Alvarez for 95 million euros.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Man City now have to flip players as well, mate. They only got him for like what, 15, 16,
15 million.
Like
Yeah.
Mental. Must be nice. But yeah, it's a significant fee. So Man United could be sort of saying, well, we know that you thought we were trying to get Ugarte. Obviously, the personal terms have been agreed. We're talking to him. We want to put you in a bit of a situation now, because now you have committed to that money, and now João Neves is yours. We're going to test that resolve of how much you need to offload now to balance your books. So actually, by us saying see you later, that could be a sales tactic to get them to drive the price down. That's thing number one. Thing number two, which I'm not mad at, is us just sort of operating more effectively in the transfer market. Yes, we've agreed personal terms with this player. We want him, clearly. We've been negotiating for weeks now, and there hasn't been a breakthrough. And we, again, like I said on tour and just in general, we need to change our perception in the market, man. Like, we can't be held to ransom for players anymore. We do it too much. Even if it's a player that us as fans were like, we want, and I've seen a few people say, yeah, but sometimes you've got to just pay the money. Absolutely. And that's the thing with transfers. You have to find that balance between, listen, mate, if you want premium players, or you want players who are really going to do a good job, or you want players from big clubs, or players who are really going to change your team, you just have to pay the money. But also, we've done that way too much. What we haven't done enough of is going, Yeah, he's good, but no, we trust our scouting network, and we see him as good, but he's not worth that. He's not worth that. We're going to find someone who can do the same job, if not has different characteristics. Because it's not always that this player is just worse than because he doesn't cost as much. Maybe the attributes you want, you just rather go with this skill set first, and if you can't, then you'll go for this. But there's other players out there that are better value for money and more attainable. So it's both. Either we put them in a situation where they're like, shit, Man United are just going and looking at other players. Let's drop this price down by 15 million. Or Man United actually do go, yeah, we were going to get Ugarte, but they wouldn't play ball. Sorry, Manuel, we can't buy you, mate. You need to speak to PSG because their valuation of you is too high, and we're not willing to spend that. And then, unfortunately, he has to stay where he is or go somewhere else. That's football. But what we can't be doing anymore is being held to ransom. And then on top of that, the key is leaving it late into the window. So getting to August 28th and going, bloody hell, we played 3 games. There's still no Ugarte. We still haven't made up our minds what we're doing with Amrabat because we haven't worked out how much money we've actually got left. Scott McTominay still hasn't gone yet because Fulham still haven't put the money up yet. And we don't know what's happening with Eric. And just be in this total mess, because then that leads to shit decisions and inflated prices and panic. And by all means, what we've seen with this new regime, we want to avoid that at all costs. We're not saying we can't do a deadline day deal if it works, but what we shouldn't be doing is there's no Ugarte or no midfield replacement right up until the 28th, 29th, 30th. And then we're like, shit, what did we do? Then you start just throwing money. Or worse still, the window closes and we ain't got a solution. And we've just got Eriksen, McTominay, and etc.
Yeah, well, and also gets into this. So you're saying Sander Berge's going to win us the league flex, right? Hey, this goes back to my wider point. I've been saying this so much recently. I think as Manchester United fans, collectively, we have no idea what we actually want, because obviously it is frustrating and annoying that we haven't signed midfielder yet. We all want to sign Manchester United to sign midfielder. The majority want us to be like, right, move on Scott McTominay, which, by the way, still could happen. Still is quite likely to happen that he ends up going to Fulham. We shall see. But us walking away from this deal doesn't necessarily mean, yes, we absolutely want McTominay to stay. He's going to be starting every single week. Sander Berge, he's a solution, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because they're happy with that instead.
No, it's more just, it's a wider kind of point of view, isn't it? That, you know, look at this from PSG's perspective. They bought him last year, right, in 2023, Ugarte, and clearly a year on, they've gone, he doesn't really fit in the system. You spoke to Kevin Hatchard, and that's what he was saying to you, wasn't it? It's that it's really a system thing. Luis Enrique doesn't really fit the midfielder that he's looking for. PSG have just signed João Neves for a similar type of fee, and they're hoping that a year later we can sell him on for pretty much the same fee we bought him for, or a similar price to João Neves. If we had that money, wouldn't we have just gone in for João Neves in the first place? A year later, his price has declined. Obviously, PSG have the right to charge what they want for him, but Manchester United also have the right to go, no, we value it differently, so we're going to walk away. I get that everyone wants Manchester United to do these deals as quick as possible. We are praising Ineos for doing these deals quickly before the tour. But at the same time, I'd much rather Manchester United were willing to walk away from bad deals if the value isn't right, because we've done this. We've done this how many times over the course of the last decade of either overpaying and then we realize, that's not very good. And when we try and sell them, we can't because we've overpaid them and put them on a big contract. Or two, as you mentioned, we do drag things out. We do leave it to the end of the window. And then we're like, well, we've got to do something because it's a day left of the transfer window. I'd much rather now us walk away and move on to another target. It's certainly not an ideal situation because we'd like people to be through the door, wouldn't we? We'd like people to be through the door right now. As far as why, because I've seen the response of, well, why is it taken a couple of weeks to get to this point if this was PSG's price 2 weeks ago? Well, clearly, there was from at least some understanding that once they'd signed Neves, they had hoped that things were going to change, and they haven't. Because again, it's no coincidence that the day that Neves is announced,
we're off.
Man United go, right, we're walking away. So whether and maybe that wasn't from PSG's end, maybe that's from the agent's end, because we've heard this before when it comes to the De Ligt and Mazraoui deal, that their same agent had told United this would probably be the price to get them away from Bayern Munich. They put that bid in, rejected. oh, we were shocked. We thought you were going to compromise. Maybe it's the same thing as that. Maybe Ugarte's
There's a lot of
agent had
posturing,
said,
man.
yeah, maybe Ugarte's agent had gone, they'll once nevers and they'll drop the price and you can probably get him. All right, then cool. We'll wait. Suddenly, no, we're not actually interested. So United should walk away.
Yeah.
Go find someone else. You know, time is of the essence. And you've now lost 2 weeks. That's not ideal. It's not.
No.
When you say it's a good thing that United have walked away, that's not saying that this is an ideal situation. The ideal situation that is Ugarte would be, here we go, and he'd be through the door right now. We don't live in an ideal world, but what we can do is at least try and repair a real broken reputation in the transfer market of Manchester United. They're not willing to walk away from deals because in the past, they'll just wait and overpay anyway. And look, maybe we might end up going back in for Ugarte anyway. Maybe PSG will fold. And if they do fold, we'll go, oh, genius.
There's every chance. There's every chance we could still get him. It doesn't mean the deal's dead in the water. It doesn't, like, things change and change really quickly in transfers. And like you say, all it takes is for one domino to fall and then things can start happening. But at the same time, we can't want it all. We can't want us to change in the market and stop operating the way we have. But at the same time, when we do, get frustrated that we're doing things differently. Now, I do get what people are saying in terms of the quality of player of Sander Berge. Like, what type of quality is he? When we're trying to get back to the top, obviously, you look at it and you go, so we're about to get centre-half from Burnley. So centre-mid from Burnley then. So, and I remember, do you know what? I don't know if you guys remember, when Ollie was here, I'd done some interviews with what was his last name again?
Carlson?
Carlson or something.
Yeah,
I can't, that's really bad of me. Got his number in that, but Per anyway. Yeah, Norwegian guy, really good, really well connected.
Absolutely disgraceful.
Someone put it in the chat because you guys remember. I've done so many interviews. I can't remember his exact name, but I know his name Per anyway. And he said to me during that window, I just remember he was like, this is when Sander Berge was at Sheffield United, and he was like, you know, watch out for him in the next few years. This isn't me saying, so you're saying he's really come on and now look. I'm just saying.
You're saying Sander Berge and McTominay pivot. That's what you want, Flex. That's what you want.
What I want. Plus, bring back Fred and put him in a 10.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But it's just ironic because the first alarm bell that went off in my head is that person did this to me about 3 years ago when Ollie was here and was like, yeah, you know, he's Norwegian. The talks have been had. Man United like him. And I remember going, Sander bloody Berge. Whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's funny how things happen. And what sort of player is he? It's all right. Like knowing that we're going in for Sander Berge, okay, a lot less money, better be some more, because I tell you what, mate, if we think we can just put Sander Berge in there next to Kobbie Mainoo and we're fixed, that's alarming. So I don't, you know, he's all right. He's not, you know, the worst player you ever see. In that position, he's better than McTominay. But that's not what we should be. Also,
it must be stressed that, like, you know, Laurie Whitwell saying that, you know, Man United might have had talks of his camp. I mean, clearly in this transfer window, you know, I've had talks with a lot of people. Exactly. Like a lot of people's camps, haven't they? We've been personal terms with like 3 or 4 different people that aren't here at the moment. So yeah, we might be talking to Sander Berge. I mean, a couple of was it Richard Rios? Well, we're going to get him 2 weeks ago. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
And no, that's just
linked. Ben Jacobs linked those 2 players as well. So, you know, I'm sure that it's one of those ones where, like we were saying, the Ugarte one is now off, and there is a list of players that they're looking at. Maybe Sander Berge's involved in that. Maybe there are some people we don't even know at this point. What I think, again, we've got to be cautious about and careful about is just, again, having these meltdowns every other day, because we are still making leaps, which maybe we don't necessarily have all the information on, because this next leap is, well, McTominay is going to stay. McTominay still could go, you know. Yeah, we made the leap with Casemiro, didn't we? Casemiro's definitely going to go Saudi. I remember us talking on this very show before, going, we got to be a bit careful going, he's going to go to Saudi, because, like, what if he doesn't? what if
money don't come in, you're stuck with him. And that's exactly literally where we are with Casemiro right now, where we can see alarmingly that he's basically picked up from where he left off in this season. It's not a case of, right, I didn't go Copa America, I'm refreshed, ready to put last season behind me. Look, the season hasn't started yet, so let's refrain from being too critical. But let's be honest, the early signs in pre-seasons are not good. to put it in a nice way, the early signs from pre-season do not indicate that Casemiro has shaken off any cobwebs of which he had from last year and is ready to go. It looks completely opposite. So we have to, and even if he was playing all right, like we still know what we need. Let's not dress this up.
This is an interesting one, Flex. It's not United related. It's just a bit of transfer news. You know, sometimes you see these transfer stories, you go, oh, wow, that's quite weird. Yeah. Florian Plettenberg is just reporting that Brighton are seriously considering to sign Matt Hummels as a free agent.
That's crazy. Good move, though.
That's
good. But I thought that when Pascal Gross gone Dortmund, I was like, oh, bloody hell, it's another one. It's like, you know, I know he's German in that as well, but it's like, I don't know.
He's a really important player for Brighton.
And he's a good player. Yeah, he's a good player, man. In Dortmund, he'd do well. It's a good signing.
That's an interesting one.
But Matt Hummels to the Prem at this time, I remember when we nearly got him, and I remember when I really wanted him. I was like, come on, man. It was when he's at Dortmund the first time.
Good in the Champions League last season. That was the surprising part of it, wasn't it? And also it was a surprising part of like it. There was stories that was like either him or the coach, wasn't it? Like maybe a bit. They both went.
Yeah, I know. He'll do right in the Prem. He'll do right. Obviously, he's a bit past it now, so he'd need a bit of protection and stuff. Depends how this new manager wants to play, because he's going to be younger than Matt Hummels, isn't he? that new manager.
Yeah.
So depends how he wants to play, but that is weird.
That is
want to go in for him? Need a centre half? Would you take Matt Hummels? Why not? Can't get Evans. You want to get Matt Hummels?
Johnny Evans, you know, better pace. They both turn to dust.
That to be fair would be something we would have done under the old regime. He's experienced. He's been around. I tell you what, we're getting a really 3-year deal plus one. Matt Hummels at the time when we used to negotiate with him back in his Dortmund days the first time, when he was one of the best defenders.
And we'd signed Ugarte on August 31st for 75 million euros or something like that. Plus add-ons. That's what we would do. Yeah.
Yes. Ray Carl Brown says, I know it stinks, but Ugarte, but why pay 60 million when they brought him for that? And that's basically what Owen's saying. He's like, they're trying to just, you know, recoup the same money that they got for him. They're entitled to try and do that, but like you said, we're entitled to, you know, say no. It's as simple as that. And Bogdan says, Matt's, is that a person? I don't know if it is. I don't know. Should have been the player Man United got. Yeah. You know, someone might be trying to trip you up.
Yeah, he's a Dutch player. Dutch player.
Oh, right, okay, cool. Better stats than Neves and Ugarte, and only 30 million euro fee. So that's what I mean. It's how creative we can be. Like, we could end up with, this is the thing as well, because I've been asking for it. Go and get that sort of relatively unknown guy.
We did. He broke his foot.
There you go. But like in central mid, like, see how Brighton do, like the Caicedo.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Why? That's why. Isn't that why Christopher Val's been brought in for this very reason, right? These two transfer windows. So that's why I'm saying that with this Sander Berge stuff this morning, inevitably there will be the freak out, won't there? Of like, we're gonna buy a player from Burnley. It's terrible. It's a bit like when we were gonna get what's the guy, the midfielder from Newcastle under Ollie? You remember? They were Longstaff.
Oh yeah,
and we were like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? It's a bit like that, isn't it? When we're like, oh no, but that didn't happen. Who's to say that the Sander Berge thing will happen either? You know, so
I don't think we'll get Sander Berge, but then again, that could be my famous last words. I don't think so.
Sander Berge, here we go. It's a good addition to the squad.
Oh mate, and if we do, like I say, he does play that position, and he's all right. He's all right. But I ain't trying to buy Sander Berge, man. He's all right. He's decent. But, you know, again, people say, listen, just because the team's gone down to the Championship, look at Andy Robertson. You know, he went down. You know, just because you've been relegated doesn't mean you can't go on to be a good player. And what's crazy is, right, what's crazy is because we're so rubbish, especially last year. Remember when Burnley played us last year?
They outplayed us at Old Trafford, yeah.
Mate, he played good. We could really get near him, but that shouldn't be the parameter of like, so get him in. That's just the deficiencies of how crap we were. But he was keeping the ball neat and tidy. He was moving the ball quite well. He got about the pitch all right against us. But guess what? So did every other midfield bloody in the league against Man United. Do you know what I mean? So,
I think
you can't use that.
With that one too, it must be stressed that, like, if you're going to put them in order of how they're going to happen, I would say that the Mazraoui one that will happen first. You would hope then the De Ligt one would happen next. Like, whoever this midfielder is, that does feel like that's just going to be later by proxy, because there are going to be two other deals
outgoings
first
as well. And
yeah,
we have to see what goes on. Space. Is that the right way I'm at? Yeah, Space Oddeye says, which transfer you guys think is the closest to happen? Owen basically just said it there with the Mazraoui one.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth. And I agree with that. What do you think, Space? And Lil Yo-Yo, big up to you, bro. Been a member for 23 months. Always there showing love. This is Lil Yo-Yo. He is a menace. He says, I don't think he's ever missed a stream, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen one stream where he's not here. I'm actually being deadly serious. Has he ever... Yo, have you ever missed a stream, bro? And this is a real question. Put it in the chat. Have you ever... Because I don't remember ever coming on here live and not seeing Lil Yo-Yo, which is incredible. I'll give Ineos credit. He says competency and not bow down to demands. They will need to be efficient and make moves sooner. Also to less Fleck judge this season. Fleck judge this season. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I don't know. He sort of shook Lenny Yoro's hands out for 3 months. So
yeah, well, there you go.
And Rasmus.
Everything could be, but when Rasmus scored a goal, and my mentions weren't popping off saying, oh, and you said hello to him, and look,
because afterwards he got injured.
So, and all the other players, Ahmad took a picture of him, said hello to him. He's had a great preseason, but no one's saying. Just tell you what, that could be because of no one says.
He shook hands. Like shook hands with Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox can't do transfers now. So.
Yeah, well, or apparently. Shook hands with Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox, and now we're, not being mugs in the window. And actually, now it's not Flex. What did you say to them? We'd never have walked away before. We would have just paid the money, but no, it just depends.
Well, they were mugs. So, they shook your hands. I
Glass
told you wear gloves. Half
full or half empty. Depends how you view life. It's part of life.
Part of life.
I'll tell you, we did see actually. We spent a bit of time with is Zanana's family. His brother. Yeah, that was good. He's a nice guy. But yeah, depends how you see life.
He had a stinker against Liverpool, though, Andre Onana.
Yeah.
He wasn't good.
Didn't want to dive for anything, did he? Just wanted to let the goals go in. And then
didn't want to dive.
When he came out as well, didn't want
to catch the ball. Kick in.
When he done that
stick out for touch, he'll kick it straight most of the time.
Then he just fell over as well. Tough. Just fell over.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Just out of everyone's happened, I was like, why couldn't that just happen to their keeper? Just not Onana. Just if someone's just going to fall over with no one there for no reason, just don't let it be Onana.
Yeah,
just please. It's not him. Then he's like, the digging the turf after. No, I don't know what happened there. Yeah. It's lost the balance, mate.
Part of life.
Part of life, mate. Yes. Right, we've got nearly 2K watching live, which is sick. Morning show vibes. 462 likes, guys. Minimum 1K. Ain't gonna lie to you because we're on our way to 2K watching live quite comfortably. So let's do it. Oh, and what's the likes been like in the morning? People been...
They've been good. They've been good. We've been hitting 500 plus. But we can go higher. We can go further. We can go faster. We can be stronger.
First show back, guys. Come on. Flex's first show back. Let's get to 2K. Let's get to 2K watching live and let's get to 1K likes. We could do that. Lenny Yoro has had an operation.
Let's talk about Lenny Yoro Fleck, since you judged him. Manchester United released a statement yesterday.
AG was there as well.
Well, did you just say?
No, wait a minute. Wait. My response to that would be. Hold on, wait a minute, Flex.
See, Flex. And this is the thing. People think that we exaggerate what's going on. This just proves what we're saying, bro. Is like this literally happens. This is exactly what he does.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Manchester United released a statement saying Manchester United defender Lenny Yoro has today had a successful surgery on his foot injury. Summer starting from Lille sustained the injury during the team's recent friendly match against Arsenal in Los Angeles. Yoro's rehabilitation starts now, and we look forward to the 18-year-old returning to fitness in around 3 months. I mean, what a disaster. I mean, what a complete disaster. We were chatting about this on the phone earlier on, weren't we? That it's such a strange sort of circumstance as well, isn't it, of how it will happen, because there were rumblings the day before. He trained in the morning session, not the afternoon session. He was separate, And I remember it's even, I think it's in the open training session video. I think even you go, oh yeah, we spoke to Lenny or whatever. We said it was a precaution, but yeah, precaution. No one knew what it was. You know, we don't know if it was his foot. We don't know if it was anything else. And then next day in the match, didn't have the best start, made a bit of a mistake, you know, but then he recovered from that quite well. Didn't really look like there was anything to like a big clash or anything like that. Next thing you know, he's just down on the floor holding his foot. And then we're thinking, well, hopefully it's not too bad. You know, he's staying out there, blah, blah, blah. Then it got released that it was going to be 2 months. Then it was like, well, first of all, it was like 6 weeks, 2 months. And then you start doing the sort of maths and go, wow, that's not too bad, you know, I suppose. And that's really just sort of the real start of the season. There's still time to go on tour. 3 months, you're going, it's just a complete disaster. And that also goes to show why all of this talk about injury history or whatever is completely redundant. Because here's a guy that doesn't have a history of injuries. I know he's only been playing a few years, but I think he's had like 1 injury. He's missed like 2 games for that injury. Yeah. Breaks his foot. It's out for 3 months.
I know. It's just sod's law, innit, as they say. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I couldn't see from where I was whether it was after that tackle with Jesus where he recovered. Was there impact there? Was it that? I think, was it that?
I don't know. I don't think it would. I couldn't, watching the game.
Because we didn't see him get his foot stuck in the turf and go, oh, hang on. Like the Leacher one, we saw his foot get stuck.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
He went, oh, bloody hell. Like this, I don't see when, unless someone in the chat knows, was it from that recovery with Jesus when he let the ball slide past and had to run back and he slid in, didn't he? Was it that?
Yeah, it was. But even that, it sort of, the stuff happened afterwards. It just felt very innocuous, didn't it? It felt very innocuous. And that was the second injury in the game because, of course, Rasmus had already gone off by that point. And then it was like, the way that I remember it is like, so the chance for Rasmus happened. He missed it and he did it a bit awkwardly. He went, oh, I've done my hamstring. You go, all right, I can see how he's done that. That's a nightmare. And then it was just like a couple minutes later, Lenny Orr's down. What's going on? And then, he stayed on the tour the whole time, of course, because he wanted to be with the team. By all accounts, it wasn't an issue of, if it had been done, you know, last week, there'd been a week further along in his recovery. They're saying it's going to be still like 3 months. It's going to be 3 months. And also, these foot injuries, I mean, we lived it through Leacher last season. We don't know how well it's going to go. Like, he could come back earlier and he could be raring to go and it could be good. Or he could come back and he could kick a ball and be like, no, it's not good.
It's still not right. And we've obviously got scars from the Leacher situation. Kerwin said there in chat, Mania was out for the same amount of time last year, came back, made immediate effect. The injury to Yoro could be a blessing for the young man. Obviously, you never have it. Sometimes you feel like you have to spell this out, but I just want to make sure people are clear. I don't think Kerwin's saying it's good that he's got injured, but out of a bad situation, what positives can you take? And look, Cobby was 18 as well when it happened, didn't it? He's 18, and it's his breakthrough season. The only, not positive, but it's like he has a bit more time to adapt to his surroundings, live in the city, you know, take his time a little bit more. But at the same time, you're injured and not doing what you love, which is playing football. And that's frustrating. And also, if the team, not that everything should be on Lenny Yoro, because he's like, I've said many times, even before he got injured, we need Delit and it shouldn't be all on this young kid. Some people, KG's pushing back on that with me in the Flexing KG show, and other people saying, listen, no, if he's good enough, this kid's gonna, like, he's generational, he should be doing this, he can do that. And I get that, like, you know, if he started the season, was proving game after game he was good enough, but I still think at 18, I'm just, especially at centre half as well, there's so few examples, and he's injured now, so we're not going to find out quick, but I was hoping he's this generational talent. That's, you know, wow, there's an 18-year-old playing week in, week out for Man United and he's doing bits. Like, Saliba turned into what he's into now after like 3 loans out there. Like, it's very, very rare that somebody at 18 at big clubs like Man United or, you know, I mean, the top end of the Premier League do that. But hopefully it's more time for him to settle in. Hopefully he can come back stronger, got good mindset. And also, though, we'll see where the team is by then, because if Delit has come in by then and is doing unbelievable with Leacher, again, he might see it as, that first starting spot would have been mine, so I've got to work myself back in, which from a United perspective, listen, we want that rotation. I don't want it to just be all on one guy to do everything, especially a young kid. This is why I really wanted Delit. So, yeah, look, he's still our player. It's fantastic we've signed him. It's still exciting. And when he does come back, it will be like the Kobbie situation. Bit different because the Kobbie one, we really didn't know what to expect. We didn't think he would do that. But it will be like a new signing. But it's just annoying, isn't it? October times you're waiting for.
Well, and also, like you said, you have to flex.
Oh,
I can press the button. I can press the button. We have some breaking news.
Breaking news.
It's all going off this morning.
Please be outgoing.
Dalmashev from Sky Sports has just tweeted. He has said that PSG have held initial talks to Manchester United over signing Jadon Sancho. Discussions over the conditions of potential deal. Sancho could be open to a move. Personal terms not expected to be a problem. Dialogue open between clubs as they have discussed Manuel Ugarte. Of course, we know that deal is probably off, but Dalmash is saying that PSG have now held initial talks with Manchester United over signing Jadon Sancho. So that one actually now, because we'd heard the rumours, hadn't we, from some other sources, maybe not as super credible, saying that PSG were interested in Sancho, saying that PSG maybe had already agreed personal terms, which is kind of Dalmash is saying that's not necessarily the case. But this is club-to-club contact between PSG and Manchester United over a Jadon Sancho move. And this is an interesting one because just, I don't know, I think it might have been yesterday, I was going, it feels like he's going to stay because things have gone quite quiet. He's been playing in pre-season. He's probably going to start in the Community Shield at front, most likely. But if that deal, and this is how mad football is, isn't it? We're talking about Ugarte's off wide, gap between valuations. Then PSG got the nerve to go about Jadon Sancho then. They played hardball. Play hardball. This year was going to be 40. Now it's 50. Come on.
This plays into our hands. This plays into our hands because at the end of the day, I think, and I know this actually, I suspected it at the start and had it confirmed through speaking to people at the club throughout tour. And I said it to KG from the start when he was like, yeah, he's going to stay. He still might stay, but the reason why he's been brought back in is not just because, they see the future of Jadon Sancho. It's because if they want to sell him, he had to go through pre-season playing properly, and there needs to be seen from the outside that he's not an outcast anymore because he's our asset. Simple as that. Like, it made the most business sense. I could just see that. Now, we're at a point where now if PSG want to talk to him, which they just done or just starting to do with us, etc., we've now got the power to say, or the opportunity to say, yeah, well, he's been fully integrated back in. He's trained the whole summer. And as you can see, look, he's on our social media. It's fine. If the deal's not right, he'll stay. And he's happy to stay. We're happy to keep him. No problem. We'll use him until the price is right. We're not just going to be thrown into, getting, of course, look, the 70 odd we paid for him, the come down has been real. But the 40 million that we're asking, or whatever it is that we're asking, we want that. Exactly. Well, even higher now. And then with the Ugarte situation is, what? You just signed João Neves. You're not giving up Ugarte, and you want to sign Sancho, mate. I know there's FFP in that, and So you're gonna have to compromise on something. Do they use that as a make way with the Ugarte thing because they're happy with what they got with Xerxes, Rasmus, Garnacho, Ahmad, and Rashford? Because we did say, remember, if Sancho was to leave, we didn't necessarily think we would go out and get a like for like. We'd use that money elsewhere in the squad. So maybe would they just do a swap?
Or do they just put that into the delete? Go, we really need to do delete now, and then we'll see what happens with McTominay, and then we'll go for the midfielder. Flex, exactly. I always have some more breaking news.
Breaking news.
It's a mad morning.
It's going off.
It is going off. Dalmash has tweeted it again. He said, Chino Obi Martin is in Manchester ahead of his medical with Manchester United. Terms agreed with the player after he left Arsenal. Obi Martin chose United ahead of staying with Arsenal or moving to Germany. It's understood the offers from German clubs were superior to United's terms, but he's accepted United. The pathway into the first team is better. He's in Manchester, and he's going to have his medical today as well. And also been reported he could be a third striker option this season.
Yeah, on that, I was told, this is another thing I was going to do that a bit later on in the show, but since it's come up now, speak to people at the club. Him being a third option this year is not a thing. I was told absolutely not. I'll be honest.
It's been made up.
False. Yeah. Not ready for that. And in the next couple of years, they hope to look at how he develops to see what that is, what that looks like. Listen, if there's different injury, I'm not saying that things can't happen and you never know. But what I was told by like proper people at the club, they said, yeah, not really sure where that's coming from. Really, to expect the kid to come in now and be third choice, like, is not going to happen. Like, don't expect to see him on the bench. Don't expect to see him with this pathway into the first team this year. I'd tell you the exact thing they said was the next few years. That was the phrase I said to. We'll see what he's like in the next few years, hopefully. Now, of course, things can change. He might be so unreal in the under-23s this year that gets fast-tracked, and maybe he does make a Carabao Cup squad or something. Who knows? But right now, as it stands, before he's even completed his medical, the club said to me, they're not getting him now to be the third choice. If anything, Ethan Wheatley is Ethan Wheatley won the Jimmy Murphy's Player of the Year last year. And he had a difficult preseason. Couldn't get much on the ball, couldn't get involved in the games he was playing. But I mean, in terms of having an impact, it just showed that jump up of how difficult it is. So they're saying, look, he's very raw. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But that third choice thing, I was told no.
Well, and also this is the other part of it, isn't it? Is that we've got 2 strikers this season. We only play with 1 usually. And on top of that, there might even be times which, like, for example, at the weekend, where Ten Hag plays with no strikers. He might go once again with that 2 false 9 thing, which I expect him to do.
This kid in from Arsenal, who's not. It's not going to happen.
I expect him to do that 2 false 9s. He did it at the end of the season with like Bruno McTominay. Yeah. I kind of expect him to do the same probably with Bruno, maybe Sancho on Saturday. Yeah. Maybe he does it with McTominay again. I don't know. But I think you're right. I think with that one, it's a bit too soon for that. But just circling back to the Sancho stuff, that's a really, really interesting one because I think, like you mentioned, first of all, the negotiations feel like they've now changed with PSG because of the Ugarte stuff, because of like, well, you weren't willing to sell for this price, and maybe we bump our price up a little bit. And if PSG pay that, to your point, you probably don't go like for like because we've got a lot of players in those wide positions. Right. Yeah. So do you then go, right, okay, that's the money we need to get De Ligt done.
And I don't mind that.
I don't mind that either.
We said that from before. We said if Jadon Sancho got sold, would you go and get, did we need to go and get, like you said, the 60 million Elise or, the Eze on the wing or whoever? Like, no, not really. No. Not really, because not with what we've got to fix. I'd much rather put more money into making sure we get 2 midfielders. I want 2 central midfielders personally. I think we really, really need it.
Well, it still worries me that we're not going to get a natural left back. We're going to get Mazraoui, and they're like, well, he's multifunctional. We can play left back, but still.
Salah's going to end up playing out there again. Watch.
But
what's going to happen is
there's going to be situations where Shaw's going to be injured. Malacia, they're saying 2 months. But we don't know what version he's coming back. I think Harry Amass had a good preseason, but I think this idea of, well, we don't need to get left back. We've got Harry Amass. I think it's way too much pressure on him because I don't think he's fully ready for all that yet. I think we have to be careful. We have to realize Kobbie Mainoo, he is an outlier to youth players. You know what I mean? Like that youth
You're
player
not meant to do that.
Who can just go and suddenly be like your best player, arguably in the team. That doesn't happen that often with youth players.
That's not the benchmark.
That doesn't just happen. You know what I mean?
Even at Real Madrid, like it doesn't that's not normally the case.
Exactly. It takes time to sort of develop and grow into it. And particularly at fullback where, it's very, very physical. I mean, and the stuff happens so quickly at fullback. Like Amass you saw it in a couple of the preseason games, just took his eye off the ball for like half a second. They're in.
The best one, they got him behind him.
You know what I mean? They're in. So I still say we need a left back. So I think you're right. I think if Sancho were to go and we don't know, and it also depends where his mindset's at the moment, because he's cut a very happy figure thus far since coming back. It's not as if, we've heard any of these reports about it's very frosty and blah, blah, blah. What if he just goes, actually, you know what? I'm all right now. I'm enjoying being back.
I think in my opinion, all this is my opinion. This isn't like I spoke to someone. I think that what's happened is so the business side of it of how we need to do it, like I explained earlier, I believe that to be true. But from the Sancho perspective, I think they've got him in and said, listen, this is what we're going to do, because if you do want to move away, which let's be honest, you probably do, it has to be in this way. Wow, you have to come back in. Yeah, well,
maybe he did previously.
I think, but I do. No, I think because I think he knows. Let's be honest. When everyone's back fit again, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's the guy Eric really wants to hang his hat on and really invest. It doesn't seem like that. Like it's the same that happened last season when we didn't have a striker in pre-season. He played up front in pre-season last year, and everyone went, "Yeah, look, he played really good in the false nine." That's not the plan. Eric doesn't want a false nine of Sancho. We didn't have Martial last year, and we hadn't bought Rasmus last year. There was no striker. The same as this season.
Who's higher in the pecking order, Sancho or Anthony?
Right now, Sancho is, but that's just. But again, Eric didn't want that to be the plan either. He tried with Sancho with thingy,
but that was part of the problem last season, wasn't it? It was, and I think in fairness, Sancho's probably right in that regard. Going, you're playing this guy instead of me. What's going 100%. On? But that's now changed.
But I still think that's now changed. But I still think the long term for us is to look. We get excited. I tell you what, Sancho in a false slide. Yeah, look, so we ain't gonna have a plan. We ain't bought Joshua Zirkzee in 70 whatever million, 60 plus add-ons for Rasmus when our plan is to have a false nine of Sancho and that's the future. No, it's not. The future is to have these two young strikers, which are Zirkzee and Rasmus, to be the nines. Rasmus now even has the number 9. We are playing with a striker. This whole false 9 thing, it's not the plan. It's because we have to do that through pre-season.
But Jaden's staying is not based on him being a false 9, would it? If Sancho stayed, it'd be based
even
on
as a winger, and being a wide player. Let's be honest. All right, cool. You'd be ahead of the pecking order of Anthony on the right hand side. Okay, fair play. On the left, he ain't going to get a look in because it's going to be Rashford every game, and even Garnacho's got to go. Well, I need to keep starting on the right because Ahmad's might take over. So Jadon Sancho out of the wingers, really, with what's been going on, he's second to last. Anthony's bottom, and then it's first name on the team sheet is Rashford. The second name on the team sheet was Garnacho, which Eric trusts him a lot. But now with Ahmad staking a claim for the right-hand side, our interpretation, which we still have to wait and see, be interested to see when they will get back. Our interpretation is that Ahmad is going to be his. He's going to start the season. Will Eric get into game 4 or 3 or 4? Let's say Liverpool, and Garnacho's up to speed, but Ahmad's played well from Charity Shield till then, so he still starts. Or will Eric look to get Garnacho back in? We have to wait and see what the loyalty's like or how Ahmad. We have to wait and see. But right now, my point is that I don't believe that Eric just retracted because he went, you know what, all of that is he's so good. I know I can get the best out of him. I think it's a mixture between the business side of it, and he had to do that because the options are open for Sancho, and I think the preference is still to sell him personally. I think his preference is still to go.
I partially agree with that. I agree with the part that I think he came back to be like, look, it doesn't help anyone if you're just sat there not doing anything. You know what I mean? If you want to, if we're going to get a good move for you, you need to be playing, you need to be back in training, you need to be fit. It's one less issue for us of constantly we're training at Carrington, be all the way over on this separate field, all that kind of stuff. It's just something they don't need. But I do think also there might have been a part of it from Eric Ten Hag's consideration of going, look, I just need options. And I don't know what I'm going to get in this transfer market. Maybe I don't get all of the signings that I want, and maybe I might need that option on, you mentioned about Garnacho and Rashford off the left, and maybe Ahmad on the right, Sancho on the right, Sancho on the left too. He can play in the 10. Maybe he's just I just need, he said it himself, survival of the fittest. I need players. So either we bring him back and we can maybe get a good deal for him. And if we can sell him, then we can bring in more players because I need more players. And then if there's not interest, which it did feel like when he came back, interest had cooled a bit. It was well, Juventus and Dortmund, but can't really find the money for him. And that's what he's, as people have mentioned before, he is an asset. You're supposed to use the assets that you have and not just let them wither and die. So I think that's probably part of it too. So I still think
but Man United, I think would be happy to keep him if the right money doesn't come in. And I don't think Sancho would down tools because I think it's been explained to him. Get back in. We will accept offers. Yeah, we will accept offers if they're the right valuation and you can go. But if it doesn't, this is why you need to just crack on, because if it doesn't, you could stay. And that's the bit where I do think you might be I'll stay. I'll give it one more.
And we always say this with transfer signings, don't we? We always say this with transfer signings. When we sign a player, we go, so-and-so is not going to be happy, or is that going to drop so-and-so out of the team? And it's you need a squad. You need players. You need a lot of players in your team. And I do think maybe the ideal route would be sell him for let's say 40, 50 million, reinvest that into not one, but maybe 2 players, get De Ligt. You're going to get Masraoui anyway from the Wan-Bissaka money. Maybe it goes into, another midfielder signing, whether it's a loan signing, something like that. And you go, we've actually brought in a couple of extra players based on that. But if he doesn't go,
for the squad if that happens.
But if he doesn't go, I think he's a legitimate option this season. As we said, he's going to probably start in the Community Shield. And if stuff goes well, we know that Eric doesn't really like to change stuff if it's really going well.
Yeah, football's a funny game.
We'll see.
Yeah, football's a funny game. If results go well and someone starts playing well and you never thought it, he could hit the ground running and score. Again, I'm painting a picture where some people go, "Oh, fat chance." I'm just painting a hypothetical. He could score 3 in the first 5 with a couple of assists, right? And go, I'll tell you what, mate. He's playing the false 9, or he's come off the bench and impacted it well, and this, that, and the other. You just carry on.
We didn't think he was going to be. We didn't think he was going to be back in the first place. At least I didn't. So at this point, I'm not willing to rule out anything because anything can happen.
We said to KG, "Nah, mate, he's going to drive straight in."
Yeah.
Say, right, cool. We'll organise something. You keep yourself ticking over until we sell you. And the complete opposite thing happened. So you're right.
Exactly.
You're right. And not only that, I do think a turning point of what they're really trying to push, when they let Jaden do the media with Sam in the in-house media.
Yeah.
That there, I'm
very
telling you,
is very
calculated. That is like, not only is he back, we're telling you, listen, we'll put him forward, because he don't. Do you know what I mean? So all options are open, and I don't think he's definitely going to leave. But I still think if the money's right, and PSG offer the right money, Man United won't say no. And really for the squad, because if Sancho does stay, yes, it's good that we've got more options. And actually, at the top end of the pitch will be, when they're all fit, could say sport for choice, really, apart from the Anthony situation, which is harsh to say, but let's be honest, you're not sport for choice there. He's really not as good as pre-season. Terrible. Talk about someone who needs to put last season behind him and try and prove and get in the books. You've done nothing to do that. If anything, you've just cemented why Eric was done with you towards the back end of last season anyway. So he's way off getting game times. He might not even get sub appearances.
Well, he was always on tour. He was always in the second team, wasn't he? Always.
Every single game.
I know he had a couple of injuries and stuff like that, but he feels so far removed from that team.
Miles off, mate. He's miles off. He's miles off. So, yes, if Sancho does stay, he could replace the Anthony situation, because if he goes, and we don't get another one, if you're talking about options, you'll try not to use Anthony, but, you might have to if there's injuries or whatever. And there's a lot of games, by the way. But if he stays, it's less easy for us to invest in the things that the squad really needs. Like you said, that left-back situation, which hasn't even been linked at the moment. It's all about central mid, centre-back and right-back right now. But that central mid, okay, I want 2. And we have to get the centre-half, which I think we will. And, of course, the right-back. So if he does stay, it lessens our chance to be able to really go in and give the squad some surgery on top of, fingers crossed.
That should be held against him. That shouldn't be held against him.
No, it's not his fault.
You know what I mean?
No, it's not his fault. I'm just saying that's what would happen if he stayed.
Yeah.
Like, economically, it would mean, we don't have an extra 40 million here to get a loan plus an option plus buy someone so we can get 2 midfielders or whatever. So, I feel like it's a weird one.
It'll be interesting to see what happens if an offer actually did come in, wouldn't it? If an offer got put on the table, here's like 40 million quid, 45 million quid. It'd be interesting to see what United did, basically, wouldn't it?
I think if 40 million comes in, I think they say yes. I
think given the Ugarte thing, I think they try and squeeze that one a little bit more now.
Or use it as a means to get Ugarte and say, well, look, we'll do a swap, or here's some money plus something. Use it as part of that deal somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that. Because if you said Sancho for Ugarte swap, not like straight swap, maybe. Well, they're valuing Ugarte at like what, 60 odd million? No?
60 million euros. They're valuing him more than they'd be willing to pay for
more.
You know what I mean?
So if you say no money exchange and just swap the 2, we need a central mid. Then there you go. But at the same time, of what Jaden is capable of being and the talent he has, he should be more than 40 million. But the way he's played in the last 3 years, he's a 40 million pound player now, unfortunately. That's just that's what happens, isn't it? He was viewed as a 120 million pound player before we bought him. We said no. Then we got him for like, what was it, 77 all in? Something like that? 73, 76, whatever. Yeah. And then in 3 years, he's nosedived to the point where he was exiled and had no value. So we had to loan him out just to build it up. And then 40 million is probably, let's be honest, is the maximum you're going to get for Jadon Sancho in this climate. Unless you keep him and he does well and shows that he's a 50, 55 million, 60 million pound player. That's how it goes.
Yeah, or you just go, if once again, if their way that PSG are valuing players, maybe we overvalue them a little bit as well. Go if that's the market. If that's the market, maybe that 40 does, and it gets later on, maybe that 40 does become 45 or 50.
Exactly. Like Javid says, welcome back, Flex. Big up Owen for holding down the fort. Thank you for keeping us entertained. What about Facundo, in your opinion? Loaned again or getting sold? I think getting sold.
I think he ends up getting sold.
He's been loaned out too many times now.
Yeah.
I think he's been loaned out 3 times now, was it? Or was it 2?
Yeah, well, gosh. At least 2. At least it might be more than that, mightn't it? I know he arrived back at Carrington yesterday, didn't he, with all the international players? But I think you're right. I think it's probably time to sail.
Yeah. Inkobitstia. Apologies if I haven't said your name correctly.
Oh, it's a bloody good attempt though, Flexers. Good attempt.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
It's not bad. I'll take that. I'll take that. Apologies if I've said it wrong. But he says road to 200k. Happy for this team. Fleck, you backed yourself and the community reaps the rewards. That Bloomberg interview was crazy. Ornstein next with the eyes ? Thank you, bro. Road to 200k, 100%. And yeah,
2 years.
Division.
24 months.
Again.
Been 2 years.
Oh yeah, 2 years. That's proper backing that, mate. Channel's only been going. Well, we're in our 4th season now, so 3 full years.
It's mad.
So yeah, it's mad. Big up to you. And yeah, who knows what's around the corner. We're always trying to push on and just keep growing, man. So I'm not gonna lie, that 200k, I'm gonna be really, really over the moon with that. When. Speak that out. So when we get to 200k, when Red Baron says, believers fans, we put too much stock into stats. Yeah, we do. I think the eye test doesn't really work anymore. It's all about how many goals and assists does it go, how many progressive ball carries, how many, what's the passing accuracy. You're a centre half, but he's got passing accuracy of 97%. Well, yeah,
Flex. When are we going to talk about field tilt more often? Yeah,
honestly,
where are we?
I feel like a proper old school person. I hate all that stuff. Like, I say hate's a strong word. Honestly, I just don't like the way we use it as means to justify someone's impact. Like, of course, it matters if you can use it as a positive parameter. If somebody scores a ton load of goals or gets a shitload of assists on a consistent basis, it means something. If someone wins a lot of headers because they're really good in the air, that's a good attribute to have. But we sometimes in football, we tend to use it as the deciding factor on everything, and like the go-to thing to decide if someone's good. I'll tell you what, like you say, progressive ball carry is not that high, or what's the other one? Obviously the passing percentage. Yes, as a centre back, like, okay, Eleni Yoro's got like 90. He's one of the only ones to have like 90 something +% passing that. But I'm like, come on, man, I haven't watched all them games. How many of them passes were to his right back? How many of them passes were just to his centre midfield, who, because of the way Lille play, people sit off them, and like the centre midfield always comes to collect it, so you just give it to him. Like, there's context. Do you know what I mean? There's context.
That's what they say about statistics. Statistics can be manipulated, can't they? Because you can find any statistic to back up any argument you want to make, positive or negative. There will be a stat out there, But like you said, sometimes it ignores lots of other stats that tell the story, or also just the match in general. Put it this way. If you look at the game on the weekend or whatever, you just look at that, you go, well, Liverpool battered United. And then if you watch the game, you go, that's not really...
It's not the case.
what really happened.
And you know what? Even for our own players, I know we obviously want to push our players and we should support our players. I don't think we should overgas them, because we end up doing things that we've done before where we think our players are better than they are. But I don't really get involved in, like, after the thing, it's like game by numbers. And it's like, duels won 2 out of 2, 100%. I'm like, okay, so they went to get the ball twice. And they got it. It's like, it weren't like 15 times. He was unplayable. Like, he went to get the ball 15 times. He tackled someone 15 times. Then it's like you said, passing accuracy or chances created, 1, and then we scored from it. Or, 2 shots on target, scored 1. I'm just like, I just look at it and say, he played sick today. Like, he played good, man. I saw it in my eyes. He just played well. I'm not really interested in, like, the numbers afterwards. Well, yes, the total number at the end of the season, he got 24 goals. Or like, Bruno's got 15 assists, mate. Like, those things, I get it. But the game by game, I just, the yardage, not for me. Not for me, mate. proper Roy Keane, not for me. Like, okay, our chief creator, you know, chance created 3. Yeah, that is Bruno doing his job. I don't know. Centre back, no pressure on him. Played against bloody Southampton at home. Yeah, Martinez, 98 pass accuracy. Yeah, mate. Who they got up front? Che Adams. I think he left now, but whatever. It's good. Yeah, mate. He had an easy game. There's nothing to do. Like, I don't know. I just don't like that stuff.
You're just a big bloody hater, Flex. I think that's what you're revealing yourself as. Just a big hater.
But when it's the right time, listen. Gash your players when it's the right time. Support the players. I'm all for that. But let's just be careful. Lastly, really, really quickly, you know, the lads are back.
Yes, the lads are back at Carrington. I was just literally turning to my left. We don't have this picture, but there's a wonderful picture that Man United have just released in the last few minutes of Erik ten Hag and Lisandro Martinez embracing their return at Carrington. Leacher is back. I mean, what a difference, by the way, he's going to make this season. But yes, as you can see, some of the pictures on the screen there. Cobby's back for Kundo Palestri. Lisandro Martinez, as we mentioned. All of the international players, Luke Shaw, they're also all back at Carrington now. And it's all eyes turning to the game at the weekend. Wembley.
I will say this. Yeah, Wembley Community Shield. I will say this. I think we may have overcooked or been a bit too over-concerned about how long it takes certain players to get back up to speed. Because actually, in effect, the players who have played deep into tournaments and played all summer and had a few weeks off,
yeah,
it's not going to take them long to get back. And the type of players you're talking about, okay, Leach has had a long injury, but it's done him the world of good, really, to go and play all the way through the Copa America, win it, come out unscathed, good performances as well. He was playing really well during that. It's done Cobby the world of good to sort of keep going through the summer. And listen, I was there at Venice Beach. Mate, I know he's playing against some like teenagers, but looked all right. And again, he's only had a few weeks off. He played right up to the final. Didn't start the Euros, but, you know, played. Luke Shaw has effectively had a pre-season to prove his fitness, to have some game time. He went through the stages. He played like 15 minutes first or something, then 30 minutes, then a whole game. So he's got himself up to a decent period. Bruno and Dallo, let's be honest, they're machines. Like, they'll be fine. It's not going to take them long. Garnacho didn't actually play that much for them, but trained all the time being away. So actually, those guys aren't going to need too long to get
The majority of them will most likely start at the weekend. Most likely, you know, it'd be quite surprised if the majority, and there might be one or two that maybe don't, like you say,
that maybe don't. Yeah,
maybe like a Xerxes might not, you know.
Yeah, and even him,
because he generally didn't play a lot of games. You know what I mean?
But he was there training the whole time, and he had a brilliant season with Bologna. Played enough every game. Went away on international duty, drafted in late, but training. Come on in a couple of games. Few weeks off where, again, even in them few weeks, the guys who didn't play that much, they're training, mate. They're putting it in because they're like,
Put it this way. If that starting lineup comes out at Wembley and Bruno Fernandes isn't starting, I would be floored. I would be stunned. Bruno Fernandes will start against Manchester City.
Yeah.
There's no way that he doesn't.
And the thing is, he'll be able to play 90 minutes if you asked him to. But
he might not play the full 90, but there's no way he's not starting. He will.
No, and Wan-Bissaka will probably still be there by then, so he might still start.
Well, and also, they might just... I know it's obviously trophy and final, blah, 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 but it technically counts as another game of pre-season. So the bigger game is getting ready for that game against Fulham. So they might be like, right, I'm going to start him. I might not play the full, but I need you to
because they need to be ready for Friday.
I need to have minutes for Friday. Exactly.
They need to play the maximum amount of minutes they're able to play. They need to, because otherwise, against Fulham at home at Old Trafford on Friday night, when the whole world's looking and we need to get off to a good start, we could not. Like if we listen, Harry Amas has done really well, but if we have to start him in the first few games and it's difficult, we're struggling. You know, we need to get Luke Shaw in as quickly as possible. So there you go. Anyway, have we got any more left? There you go. Lil Yo-Yo says, Fleck, give us a. There you go. What do you call it? Wait a minute. I've honestly been with KG that long. I've picked it up loads, by the way. Me and Josh, like, it's our new thing. We say it all the time for no reason. Fleck, give us a peek to the return of the Flex. Yeah, coming back.
Links in the video description. I think it should be.
Yeah, link is in the video description. Go subscribe to the Flex for those of you originals who know. It was, you know, that's what the channel was before we started United View and stuff, and that it was always the view to bring it back. So it's not anything like, so United View. No, United View is going to be continuing exactly how it is. But anything other than what we do here, and all the stuff I'm interested in, some gaming stuff, some different type of football stuff away from the United stuff, different guests, interviews, etc., etc., and just fun. And actually, I've made a decision. It's going to be funny because I want you guys to join it. It is going to be my 100% independent Flecknology journey, and it's going to be funny.
Nice.
Like, you are going to see the most basic of basic vlogs, editing. I now have Final Cut on my computer. I'm getting to grips with it. I've started making some thumbnails and graphics. So even just for a laugh to see how shit it's going to be at the start. And like I'm going to do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Because actually, whenever I do a lot of stuff that like would be great to share with you guys. Like when I'm at Sky Sports and back at Sky throughout the summer, behind the scenes stuff there, Talk Sport every week. There's a lot of stuff that happens to people I bump into that it's great stuff to share. And I'll be honest, I'm just not that guy. Some people document everything. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm in the moment. Just and I go,
yeah, we have to remind Flex quite a lot to do these things.
I'm old school, me. I'll be honest, I'm not great at it. So I've challenged myself. This is almost a challenge, and I want you guys to be on a journey. So behind the scenes of what happens in the Fleck universe, and most importantly, the Flecknology of how these videos are put together via sound and vision. Because I'm telling you now.
First one will be like,
welcome to the Flex. This is a really great video. Yeah.
But it's blank screen.
No. Look at this. What image? What image right here?
There's nothing there.
It's going to be clip art settings, like not faded in properly, music too. Like it's going to be.
With the wacky word art titles as well.
Mate. This is what I'm saying. So it's something actually I wanted to challenge myself to do, to just add another string to my bow and learn some stuff and have some fun. So yeah, and do stuff that I like, gaming, and talk about other games, and might do some watch longs and stuff for other things. But yeah, obviously all the Man United stuff will live here. So yeah, subscribe to the Flex right now if you haven't done it. Jump on there. Links in the video description below. First video coming soon. So yeah. So Marcus says, Flex, welcome back. Very disappointed I didn't get to meet you at the game in South Carolina, but I enjoyed the experience despite the loss. Yes, and I said that at the beginning of the show. So Marcus, sorry that I couldn't meet like a lot of you guys who wanted to meet up and stuff. We're gonna do some stuff next year where it's like, right, we're doing this on that day, live show, flexing KG, not live in person, some meetups and stuff like that, some real fan meetups and have some fun. So yeah, big up to everyone. Right. Smash the like on the video. We got to 800. Not bad. That's not too bad. We did have just under 2K watching, which is brilliant. Throughout the day, I'm sure something will probably happen. It's got the feeling there's stuff going on. So we'll bring that to you as and when. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again very, very soon. Good to be back. Take care. Peace.